All right, theme number 2. Oh my gosh, I'm starting to have tears in my eyes again. Oh, shoot. Thanks, Sandy, for the laugh. That was really cute. All right, theme number 2. Oh my goodness. So this week, what we had decided to do.
A different how-to today.
There we go. Was that for those of you who were with me yesterday, you got to watch. What did we do? Oh, we're doing the countdown of the top 3 at 3 number 2 videos. How do you say that? For this year, for 2020. So we started doing it in April. We actually started doing a ton more online stuff. We've done a little bit of online stuff, but we did a ton more starting in March. But in April was when we actually started the 3 at 3. And so I went through, found the most viewed videos for theme number 2. We have now put them on YouTube. So you can find them on YouTube. They don't have the same numbers on views on YouTube as they do on Facebook, because like we just have barely put these on YouTube. So when you look at it and you go, oh, there's only been 410 views, it's actually more like 4,000, but the 4,000 would be on Facebook. Anyway, not that it matters, but in case you're like, really, it was only viewed 400 times and that's your top video? Like, no, there's more. Okay. So, but now if you go to our YouTube channel, you can find theme number 2. All right. So if you're looking for just the daily how-to, you can find that on Facebook. So, or on YouTube, excuse me. So here's the number 2 video. Any guesses of what it might be? It was interesting for me to go through and find this out myself. But this one was the second most viewed video. So theme number 2. So that's what I'm going to show today. And you can enjoy it for the first time, because maybe it's your first time watching it, or maybe it will be a good review for those who had seen it the first time. So no, it's not the crumb quilt and it's not masks. Ooh, candy bag was a close one. It was almost the candy bag, but not. All right, let's take a look. Let me pull this up. There we go. Oh, there we go. It's like scene double. Here we go. Okay. Kind of scary. There we go. Okay. Theme number 2, Clinkles. The mesh bag. Nope. It is how to do a mitered corner with the back coming around to the front.
A different how-to today. Are you ready for this? Oh, I'm super excited about this one. I got something kind of cool prepared for you. Maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't, I don't know. But I hope that this will give you another idea of something you can do to finish your quilts. So those of you who've taken my binding classes before, you know I absolutely love to bind a quilt. It is one of my most favorite things to do, is to bind a quilt. I find it extremely relaxing, very enjoyable, and it's one of my favorite parts about doing a quilt is actually finishing the binding. Now, with that being said, though, there is something also to be said for being able to bring the back around to the front and have binding that way. Okay, so we're talking about 2 different kinds of binding, right? I normally, when us quilters, when we bind something, we are binding by cutting a separate strip of fabric, doing a double fold, putting it on the front or on the back first, and then bringing it over and sewing the rest, right? Well, today for the how-to, I want to show you how to do a self-binding from the back up to the front. However, this one does have mitered corners. And where that becomes in real handy is like if you want to do like it's great for not only doing quilts, but say you want to do placemats, napkins, something around a pillow with a mitered binding around it. This is going to be kind of maybe your go-to. Now, the other thing that I like about this idea of binding is because you don't have to necessarily purchase any extra fabric for your binding, because more oftentimes than not, we have a lot of extra backing after the quilter is done. Am I right? So this idea is to be able to bring that up to the front in a way that still makes the quilt look fabulous. And a lot of people don't realize that it can be done very easily and your corners can look fabulous. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. And I have a little example here. Isn't this cute, this little lemonade fabric and then the plaid. So what happens, what you're going to end up getting, this is a part of my sample here, is that you're going to get a beautiful mitered corner right there that fits in so snug and nice with the rest of your project. All right, so let me go ahead and show you how that is done. So let's come over to the cutting station right here. I'm going to bring this down a little bit, and I'll pull out an example for you. Okay, so this is just my little example. Again, this can be whatever size you want it to be, all right? So when we put together, a quilt sandwich, we're gonna have the back, which is right side face down, right? And then we have our batting, and then we have our top. And so this is what it will usually look like when it comes back from the quilter, is that it will be quilted, right? And you have batting that's sticking out, and you have a backing that's sticking out. Am I right? So when that happens and you get it back from the quilter, what you'll want to do is actually trim up the batting so it is the same size as the top. Same size as the top. So I'm going to just quickly do that right now. This is kind of an out of order thing because normally this would have been quilted, right? But for the sake of doing this video, I'm just going to quickly show you that I'm going to pretend that this was trimmed up to be the same size as the top. So I'm just, for my little example here, I'm doing an 8x8. Okay. All right, so back to my backing, my batting, and my top. Now, before I show you how to do the miter, let me show you something else that's kind of cool. I've talked about this before, but it's definitely something I want to talk about again, and that's a product called Quilter Select Free Fuse. And when it comes time to sandwich a quilt together, especially if you were doing this on your domestic machine, you don't have to do this when you're doing it on a long arm. But if you're doing it on a domestic, you would need a way to fuse all three layers together to make a quilt sandwich, right? And a lot of people will use safety pins, and I hate doing that because I just think it's such a pain. And a lot of people will use 505 spray, but that's not my favorite because I can't stand the smell of it, right? And all those fumes going everywhere. So my go-to product is the Free Fuse, because what it is it's a semi-permanent fusible powder. So it's like a salt shaker. All you have to do is sprinkle just a little bit, and a little bit goes a long way. It is just a very light sprinkle. I know you can't see that very well. And I'll go ahead and put a little bit on there for right now too. And there we go. I'm going to bring it over to my ironing station.
right here and just press it with an iron. Right? And then what it does for a few seconds, it's actually going to bond those fabrics together. So that is definitely my preferred way of basting a quilt together. Is I love the free fuse is what they call it. Okay, I'm going to do it from the back too. Now you can see that fabric isn't going anywhere. It's all fused together. And thanks to this, I didn't have any fumes and all that stuff. Now that's really not what my tutorial today is necessarily about. I want to talk to you about how to make those mitered corners with bringing the back of the fabric up here. But I thought it would be a good thing to show as well how to do that if that's something you're trying to do, okay? Alrighty, so how do I make those mitered corners? How do I do it where the back that I already have quilted comes around to the front? And I'll show you that right now, okay? So what you do is you want to make sure, remember how I said you're going to trim up the batting to match the top, and then on the backing, you're going to trim it to be 1 inch beyond the top. Now, again, as I mentioned before, you can do this same technique with any size. So I've seen where people will do placemats and they'll have a kind of a nice little outer border on the placemat that is fully mitered on the corners. And they might cut 3 inches because they want a 1.5 inch border. But I only wanted a 1/2 inch binding. So because I wanted a 1/2 inch binding, that means I'm going to actually cut my backing fabric to be 1 inch, so double 1 inch beyond the front. Does that make sense? So whatever size you want your binding to be, your finished binding, you're just going to double that. So again, I wanted a 1.5 inch binding. So actually the outside that I'm going to trim is 1 inch beyond. Okay. So let me bring you back down here. Now, I've seen lots of ways that people do this. I've seen where they will fold it in once and then fold it in again, and they'll do the same thing here and they'll fold it in again. But what's the problem with that? Well, the problem is it doesn't look that great, right? Because it's not a mitered corner. And you end up getting a ton of bulk right there, which is a lot of extra fabric, okay? So you don't want to do that. So what you'll do is you'll take your ruler, and with this open, let's see, pull this over here. Whoops, nope, that way. Okay, with this open, I'm going to find the 45-degree angle on my ruler. So I know you probably can't see that very well, but this line says 45 degrees because I want to cut at 45 degrees. So I'm just going to line up the 45 degrees along the top of my piece, 45 degrees. And then I need to push this so it goes a 1/4 inch beyond the corner, my top corner. So I'm just going to push this out. Again, my 45-degree angle is lined up right along the top, so I know that I'm at the proper angle. I'm a 1/4 inch beyond. Let's see if I can get you up a little bit closer. A 1/4 inch beyond the corner, okay? So ruler, 45-degree line, a 1/4 inch beyond, and now I'm going to trim. There we go. I just cut off that little corner right there. And then I'll go around and I'll do the same thing on the next side. I'm lining up my 45-degree angle along the top here.
I extend this out, my ruler out 1/4 inch beyond the corner. Sometimes you got to just play around with it a little bit to get your ruler in the right place. Okay, now that it's 1/4 inch beyond, I'm going to trim that. And there we go. So what you'll do is you'll do that on all 4 corners, and it's going to look something like this. Okay, when you're done. All right, now at this point, what you want to do is you're going to, let me grab something real quick. I'm going to grab my wool mat so that I can press right up here by the camera. Okay, so now it looks like this. What you'll want to do is you fold this in towards the quilt top, and you stop there and you press it. So give it a good press. And I'll do the same thing on this side. So again, you're just folding it halfway, which is right towards the top. Okay, and press. I see that. It's not all the way over, not yet. Okay, now some might think, oh, okay, so Kris, all you have to do is now fold it over one more time, right? Nope, not yet, not yet. This is the trick. With this, looking this way, both sides are folded in. Now I'm going to fold this in half where that angle was. I'm going to fold it in half backwards on top of itself, just like that. So again, I'm just following the angle, fold it back on top of itself. Boom. And now I'm going to take it over to my sewing machine, and I stitch from the end over to the corner at 1/4 inch. You see why we kept it at 1/4 inch? It's so that we can make sure and have enough space there. I'm going to move some stuff out of my way that I'm going to show you later. I'm so excited. Okay, so again, it looks like this. Now I'm going to fold it on top of itself back. If you need to pin it, you can pin it, but it's real easy not to have to do that. And now I'm just going to sew that closed with my sewing machine. I have it set up to 1/4 inch. And cut. Easy as that. And I'm going to do it on the other side that I did. Now I've already done 2 sides for the demo, but again, I have this looking like that. I'm going to fold it in half with the right sides together, line everything up there, and now sew one more time. 1/4 inch. Okay, that's how easy it is, my friends. So hopefully I didn't make you sick there. I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to trim this seam allowance up a little bit. Do you see how much extra fabric is in there? So I'm just going to kind of snip it on both ends just to get rid of that extra bulk. And I'll do the same thing on this one. Okay, I'm going to take my fancy little R&K tool, which I absolutely love, and I'm just simply going to pull that out. Easy peasy. Oh my goodness, this is so cute. Okay, again, such an easy way to bind or to even do like placemats or something. Another thing I would probably do, which I didn't show you, I would probably backstitch, just saying. Okay, and I did not do that, but I would definitely backstitch because these are wanting to come out. Do as I say, not as I do. Okay, so I'm just poking that out with my little R&K tool here, and there we go. See how that just comes out and over, and it makes it a perfect corner. Ta-da! And now all I would have to do is go around and top stitch around this. I could do a zigzag stitch if I wanted to. I could do a top stitch, whatever it is to my heart's desire, I could stitch. All right. So I won't end up doing the whole thing, but let me show you a little bit of what it ends up looking like. Let's see. Let me find one. I didn't press it all, so. There we go. And I probably shouldn't have started at a corner so that I could have just gone around, but you guys get the idea, right? Okay. Oops. Okay, look at that. A beautiful mitered corner right there that was brought up from my backing fabric. I didn't have to cut anything separate. And look how it's just sewn in right there. Isn't that awesome? Oh my gosh, it's absolutely perfect. Like, dang, that was good. That was really good. So you would do the same thing all the way around your project. It's kind of like you've created this frame going around. And again, it was from your backing fabric. So whether you're doing placemats, remember, same idea, same concept with the placemats, and you can make it bigger. You don't have to do it as a 1/2 inch. Make it an 1.5 inches and cut it out 3 inches beyond. You're backing 3 inches beyond. But the one I did was I wanted a 1/2 inch finished, and it looks just like regular binding. Look at that. I mean, that looks like regular binding on there, right? And that mitered corner is absolutely perfect. All right. That way. Okay, so
there we go. There we go. Let's see. How do you like that ending? All right. That was the number 2 video for 2020. Some things I learned in going back and watching videos of myself, which is really scary. I obviously love the color mustard. Right? I'm like, oh my gosh, I wore that again and again. Now, mind you, I do have a hoodie that is in mustard. So sometimes I would wear the hoodie a few days in a row, but you know, whatever. So I'm laughing. I'm like, oh, I like that color. I must really like that color. I love showing that technique because it is, it's just one of those things that I don't use for every project. It really depends on what it is. And so am I going to do it for a quilt that is going to be, you know, tossed around and washed and all that? Nope, because it is only a single layer of fabric. All right, that's all it is. It's a single layer of fabric. Unlike when we do binding where we fold it in half and then you bring it around, you have 2 layers of fabric that way. And so if it's a quilt like that, no. If it is if it's a wall hanging, yeah, I would totally do it that way. If it was you know, a placemat, a table runner, I would absolutely do it that way too. I don't have to, but it's an option. And sometimes we're looking for ideas of things to do without having to go buy that extra fabric for that binding, when we could just bring the fabric up and around. And so it's a self-binding method. There's other ways to do it too, but that is the one I have found to work out pretty well. In fact, Donna Barshinger, I saw that you mentioned about your Christmas placemats. Yes, they were done that same idea, that same technique. So Faye is asking, what is the name of the product I used to glue down? It was Quilter Select Free Fuse, I think it's what I call. Oh, I can't remember. It's on our website. So Free Fuse is what it's called. It's a powder, and I love the powder because one, I don't like basting with pins. I don't know. It's just not my thing. I find I end up running into them and all of that. And then I don't love sprays either because I just don't like the fumes. So the powder has seemed to work out really well. So thank you, Larry. He said, you're absolutely right. Depends on the use of the item. Great demo. Thank you so much. Yeah, it really depends on it's not something I use for every project. It's just one of those things that I use now and again. And I think, oh, you know what? This would be a good project. Here's another. This would be a good project for using it. If you have small projects, pot holders, Christmas ornaments, a small wall hanging, things that, when we normally bind and then we have to do an overlap at the end to join the ends and then we cut it at an angle, sometimes you don't have that much wiggle room, right? Especially on really small projects. And so to be able to do it this method, you don't have to worry about joining the ends. That's another benefit of doing it this way. So mug rugs, yep, Lori said mug rugs. So Cindy asked, does it have a strong smell on the fuse? No, there is no smell with it, none. So that's another reason why I just love it. So anyway, Debbie said, I never finished the Christmas placemats. Time to get them and learn the miter. There you go. I like that. Yes. And some of you have used the fuse. You love it. Definitely. So, what was the name of the video? The name of the video is Daily How To Finish a Quilt with a Self-Binding. It was, I believe it was back in June that we did it, but it wasn't put up on YouTube until August. So, anyway. That's what it is. Daily How To. All of our number 2s start out with the title Daily How To, and then it's how to do this, how to do that. So this is how to finish a quilt with a self-binding. There's ways to do like the mitered baby blanket. You could do the same technique. There's other ways to do the mitered baby blanket, but there's also this way. And I have found this way to be really quite simple to do. So, yeah. All right. Pot holders. Is it in the club? I don't know. It might be. It could be in the club. I'm not sure. If it's not, we could definitely put it in the club in the QC library. Although the QC library is meant to be really much shorter videos. We could put it somewhere in the club so that you'd have easy access to that for sure. So Debbie says, look for the yellow sweater. That narrows it down. Yeah, there you go. So anyway, that is that. Oh, that's cool. Cindy found the TV tray ironing board, and that is so neat. Yeah, I love that. That was a good video too. That was a fun one. We could, the thing is, even into this next year, we could repeat some of the same demos that we've done in the past, because sometimes it's good to be able to, just a refresher for sure. So, good deal. Kimberly said she's going to be doing this on some UFOs she's finishing. I like hearing that. Way to be a finisher. I like that. All right. April 15th, 16th, and 17th, the video aired. Was it back in April? Holy cow. Holy cannoli. I was thinking it was June. There we go. Donna says she needs to hear things twice. There you go. And Beth says, and for the new people finding your shop. Yeah, for sure. For sure. So it doesn't hurt to have some repeats, I guess, right? So I am super excited for this next year. I told you yesterday that we were doing some rebranding on 3 at 3, and I can't wait for next Monday to roll around so that we can share with you some of the new things that we're going to be doing as part of 3 at 3. Really looking forward to it. Okay. Oh, Alicia, I love you. Alicia said, okay, Kris, we walked 2 3/4 miles and used up 275 calories. Way to go, girl. Woo woo. For those of you who may have just joined us, Alicia told me that I was walking with her on her treadmill right now. I said, wouldn't that be fabulous if I could just, just burn those calories right through me. Thanks, Alicia. Way to go, girl. That's awesome. I'm gonna tell my doctor that. Guess what? I learned a new form of exercise. There we go. All right. Let's see. Sherry said the embroidery club was today the last one. Today was the last one for this year. But next Tuesday, January 5th, I have to get my numbers straight here. I will be down at our Sandy store doing Embroidery Club live with my daughter Jessica. So her and I will be doing Embroidery Club together at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. And we'll be doing it right here on Facebook Live. Embroidery Club, it's brand new this year. Fill in the blank program with Kimberbell. And anyone can get the design no matter where you live. That is what I'm so excited about. So you purchase a blank. This is their new fill in the blank program. You purchase a blank, which is only $12.95. You're going to receive an exclusive pattern for free. And we also have go with it kits to go with it. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you don't machine embroidery, you can still join in on the fun. It will be at 11 a.m. We'll have Sewing Club right here on Facebook Live the same day. And they'll be doing the same project, but on the sewing machine. So pretty cool. All right.